Mother is an allegory about God and the earth. Javier Bardem's character, who I'll refer to as the poet, is God, and Jennifer Lawrence's character, who I'll refer to as the mother, is Mother Earth, with the house standing in for the environment. The narrative makes effort to be both concise and profoundly misanthropic account of human history and a biblical allegory of both the Old and New Testaments. Ed Harris represents Adam as man, and Michelle Pfeiffer represents woman as Eve. When man is puking in the background, we see an injury right where his rib would be. If the biblical undertones have not clicked yet, only later will you come to realize that one rib has been taken from Adam in order to create Eve, hence the coughing and the bloody wound. The poet shows man the fire crystal to show and symbolize the most important thing that he owns. The most important thing that he owns, and which is to never be touched, is not his wife or his partner, mother, but the fire crystal that is on a podium in his office. Man and woman are allowed under the guise to walk freely around the house without entering the office without someone else in there. But Eve and man do so anyways, and when they go in, woman accidentally breaks the fire crystal. The poet was enraged when he found out that they broke the crystal. And the office was paradise and the house was earth, which is why man and woman were kicked out, and he blocked the doors, boarded them up, and made sure no one could get back into his office, his sacred place. Mother denounced man and woman, Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, in that room, and God never wanted Ed Harris to touch the crystal. The crystal may represent the fruit from the garden in Eden, from the tree of knowledge, which was from the tree of good and evil. The crystal, which was the forbidden fruit, was eventually touched by man and woman, thus creating the first sin, and were kicked out of the room by God. Immediately after being kicked out of the office, they immediately started having sex everywhere in the house. Now this can be changed and viewed as being kicked out of Eden, and after breaking the first sin, they already decided to continue to fall into sin. Cain and Abel are represented by Brian and Domhnall Gleeson. They came along arguing about their dying father's will, and through their argument, it got brutal and tough, in which one brother kills the other. The bloodstain from Abel was the second sin of man, the offspring of man, which alludes to the Bible in Genesis when God said to Cain, quote, "And the Lord said, 'What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground,'" end quote, Genesis 4:10.
Hey,
there's nothing wrong with it.
Really okay. No, stop doing that. Don't do that. Stop doing that. Stop.
After the funeral, everyone returned to the house for a wake, but it became a chaotic party where, after numerous protestations to not sit on the unbraced sink, the sink becomes unmoored from the wall and the water pours into the house. Thus, we have humanity's downfall following the slaying of Abel and eventually the flood from Noah's Ark. Hence why characters like man and woman don't combat. Then when the fans return later in the movie with no explanation, these are the people who survived the flood. Mother falls pregnant. The New Testament element is that when mother-child is a Christ figure, but before he's born, mother goes through a hellish experience surrounded by war, human trafficking, and other nightmarish visuals before the poet finally appears and brings her to his private office where she can give birth to their son. The allegory here seems to be that God abandoned earth for stretches at a time before Messiah figure was born. The people showing up at the house, earth, was because the man had multiplied in the earth and further defiled it. The people were destroying things in the house without regard to the mother being upset about it. When the baby is eaten through communion, mother begins killing people, and this may represent Mother Nature's natural disasters, which are quick, vengeful, and fight back with heavy strikes before being knocked down. People attacking Mother may represent how humans ignore nature, science, disasters, global warming, etc., instead keep damaging it. After fans attack the mother and kill the baby, when he says we have to forgive them, they may change now, is God's hope that humanity might change after Jesus died for their sins. He has hope that they have learned that as both mother and he are crying in whispers, which humanity doesn't learn. So mother does blow up the house. This is the apocalypse where God has a chance to start again. Unfortunately, humans don't seem to learn ever, so every ending might be the same. The fire crystal is what brings the house and the mother back to life, meaning that God has some control and level of ownership over nature, but he cannot fully control it even though he wishes he could. God has to belittle her power because without her, his creations cannot live. God will simply do everything all over again because he needs to create desires and love from his creations. Additionally, throughout the film, Mother will pause when getting overwhelmed and touch the walls of the house where she'll have a vision of a heart that's slowly dying. Furthermore, the house continues to bleed, crack, and fall apart. This reinforces the notion that Mother Nature is saying the environment is dying, especially as more people enter the house and cause chaos. Tying everything together, I'm confident in my reading in the movie that the relationship is between God, Mother, and Earth, the environment, humanity, with Androsky coming down on the side of humanity being a plague upon Earth.